Hi everyone, this is the Lady Strange. Welcome to another weekly reading from my altar room. I cannot film this outside on my patio because of the horrible swarms and consistent swarms of mosquitoes. No matter what we do, it's not working. So you work with what you have and adjust as necessary. So if you're new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome and thank you for watching and sticking through my strangeness and my magic and my messages. And with that being said, this is, of course, the weekly reading, guidance, and message for the week of July 13th through July 19th of 2025. That's how I read. Sunday to Saturday. That's how I roll. So, with that being said, I'm going to stick with what's been working the past couple weeks and what I've been intuitively guiding with my tools for the reading. What is representative of this collective in whom I'm reading for, which includes myself, the lovely, lusty, and evocative tarot, which is the Lacrimosa Tarot by Rose Bay. A beautiful indie deck. All the decks I read with and I love the most are primarily indie. That's just how I am. So next, the tarot that's going to be represented is the Void Tarot by Sari Nissan. Another beautiful indie deck. Of course, it contains my favorite colors and aesthetic: black, red, and a hint of white. And of course, a lot of magic and a lot of lust, beauty. This deck is everything. I'm so glad I obtained it from my collection, just like the Lacrimosa. The different voices that they have together and conjunctively is true magic. Is truly remarkably and respective and reverent, but also just very, very aesthetically pleasing in all levels, of course. And of course, the Haunted Manor Oracles. This one's out of print, so I apologize. But yeah, this deck is one of my favorite oracles, probably my favorite oracle in my collection. And yes, it's lusty, it's beautiful, hence the black and red, as you can see. It works and speaks very well with many other decks. Of course, many of my decks are a bit more evocative and confronting versus, that's just how Tanya is. Tanya's not a fluffy bunny by any means. I'm more of, I don't know, a mixture of this and that. Hey, why the hell not, right? So, enough about me. Okay, let's see what the spirits have. My guides, the guides for this collective, what the universe may have or hold, the day-to-day life experience that we live as humans in this very ever-changing climate of the humanity and what we work through, what we process, what we interact with, what we put forth for ourselves and others, and what others put forth to us, and just, of course, perspective versus perception, and marrying those two concepts in a very healthy, effective way to have an effective, empowered week. Again, this is just energetic guidance. This is not predictive. This is energies or messages that are going to help you to be mindful of, aware of, discern, or bring into discernment so you can have an effective, empowered week. And if this, of course, message is something that does connect with you or seems to resonate. So let's see, what archetype, what energies does this collective embody this week? What energies do they hold in themselves that they that they can use to present and wield to have an effective, empowered week? And what is truly unique to them or is reflective, so that this message may be something that shows that it belongs to them and what they can put forth, and all of the above. Okay, let's see the top one. It says, and we have here Queen of Hearts. Sorry about the lighting here. The lighting's not the best here in my altar room. Hey, like I said, you work with what you have. But you get the idea. This is beautiful. Queen of Hearts, which is actually the cups in this particular deck. And I do like that term hearts because, of course, the cups are feelings, emotions. They are perceptions that we have of our relationships, our deep intuition, our inner guidance, um, that which we interact with. So the Queen of Hearts or Cups in this, and with the emotional nature you embody as a collective, whether you are identify as a male or female, we all have those qualities within ourselves, and that truly is not the message here. The Queen of Hearts, Queen of Cups, is basically one that actually you're going to embody your energies of nourishment. Nourishment isn't just what you take in and eat and to sustain yourself and your vitality, but also what fulfills you and what you can bring and what only you, and that's an emphasis from the guides, as only what you hold. That true intuitive emotional nature, the guidance you have, the ability to listen, the ability to speak as need be, and to integrate the voice, the utterance with what you hear, but also to actively and actually with effectiveness actually perceive and bring what your light, your presence, and your take on your circumstance and what you provide for others. But also, the Queen of Cups also says you need to nurture yourself and have compassion for yourself, just like you have compassion for others. Even if they don't have compassion for you, have compassion for yourself in your situation and circumstances. We each see, feel, and interact with things differently. You're also going to feel a lot this week. A lot is going to be coming to the surface from your intuition from the other side if you're much like myself, and work with spirits, emotions, the other side, magic, or just if you're a spiritual or not spiritual. But emotions and circumstances and relationships are going to be reflected on. Remember to bring that positive effective perspective in with your perceptions this week. The two married together is going to be a superpower, as I say, that you're going to bring in that you can hold. Your intuition, your love, your compassion, your healing, but also do not forget to fill yourself, your own cup, yourself, and what fulfills you. Therefore, you have enough energy, enough love that you're giving yourself, and realizing what is really truly needed in this life and especially in this week's experiences. So that is the archetype from the Lacrimosa for this week and is representative of this collective and what you can use to embody. So next, in regards to this, is going to be centrally the oracle message. That's how I've been doing it and guided you lately. I'm going to pull one card from this. Else it wants to not stick to my table. Okay, what does this collective need to know, to be, or to be mindful of, aware of, discern, but also to bring in discernment this week, so they can best embody their Queen of Hearts, Queen of Cups, in nurturing your relationships, their experience, their growth, their healing, and what messages are coming in through their perceptions, and what is healthy and what is an unhealthy perspective or perception. Remember that we each have to look at things from a perspective versus full perception. They have to be like an alchemical marriage together, as they say. So what is the central message, energies for this collective this week, and our very human life experience, and just overall? Well, there it goes. Oh, luckily it threw it in the garbage can. Luckily it's a small little garbage bin. Yep, throwing cards again. Well, obviously this is the one that the spirits and the guides and mine want you to know. My necklace going backwards as usual. Okay. Ooh, we got just like my necklace kind of with a skull here, a lovely one. Um, which is a necklace that reminds me of Hades, the god that is. So the graveyard, which is indicating here, this is a good one. Sorry about that. I'm getting my eyes looked at soon. Procrastination, yeah, is a bitch. I can only hold myself accountable for that. But now see that? That's a lovely graveyard. I love graveyards and cemeteries, of course, and love haunting them. So again, lay your fears to rest. Well, this is obviously a message for me too, of course, because of it being a jumper, but laying your fears to rest. So that means, yes, you might be perceiving a lot and looking at things through an emotional lens of perception, but lay that to rest by having a healthy, effective perspective. Continue to bring it in. Be mindful that, yes, others may bring a lot of sometimes very aggressive, challenging, and often difficult things, whether they are your spouse, your partner, your friends, your family, your coworkers, or just life itself and what we see and what's around us. But remember on that, look at it from a different lens of perspective and maybe from their point of view. Even if you don't agree with the point of view, maybe it will help you to better understand. And do not give in to anxieties. Anxieties are horrible. Like I said, anxiety is a bitch. I suffer from it greatly, but you need to actually not let that rule your life and your fears, but lay them to rest. Lay those fears and anxieties and those limitations that are holding you back. That's going to be another part of your superpower this week, and being very receptive to what's happening, but being aware and embracing the truth and the feelings versus the reality versus the illusions that sometimes perceptions and many things that life and interactions bring to this. So, again, lay your fears to rest. Um, feel that certainty inside, feel the certainty of your situation. The faith that you know it's going to be okay, not just hoping it's going to be okay, but having that faith and knowing that it is true, and that it will come to be, and that you will make it through no matter what life may present itself to you, and no matter what your life may look like. And let's see what the tarot has in conjunction as a message and guidance this week. And one from my guides, your guides that pertain to this collective that I'm connected to, the universe and spirits. And we have another one that flipped up. Okay. Obviously, it wants to shout and speak. Okay, no problem with that. And we have the Fool. So we'll talk about the Fool in a moment. It is a major arcana. And bottom, I'm being told. So we'll take the bottom as the assistant conjunctive message and energies for this week. And we have another Cups card, another emotions. This one is the Knight of Cups. So here's the Knight of Cups from the Void Tarot. So what this is telling me, and what I'm being guided towards, that this collective needs to be mindful, aware of, discern, and bring into discernment. That's by your thoughts, feelings, actions, energies, emotions, planning, and of course, just what you can bring into this and what is brought to you, but marrying everything from a lens of emotional maturity. The Queen does have a sense of motherly emotional maturity to her. Use that effectively. As I said, this week's word is effectively and perspective and perception. But all great things to be mindful of. So the Fool it can be interpreted in many different ways. So with this Fool here, this is saying is you're embarking on a new journey, and you have been. This collective is very strong and very emotionally and interconnected with each other, the world around them, the world within them, the relationships and the experience in cultivating. You're very in this collective. We're all very, very in touch with our feelings, our intuition, our gut feelings. Trust those. Um, Even if it doesn't make sense like the Fool, sometimes often doesn't make the sense, meaning what you're being drawn towards to, what you don't quite understand, but you still are drawn to do it or will to do it, or maybe taking that whole leap of faith, maybe without a little care, without extra care, or quite a bit of folly, meaning on that. It is saying is don't take things so seriously this week. You're on and have been embarking on a new stage and path of your life, and look at it from a lens of joy, not overthinking or overanalyzing, but embrace your growth. Embrace the new stages of your life, whether you are becoming a parent, whether you got a new job, you've learned new things, you're cultivating your garden if that is your thing, your day-to-day life experiences, learning new talents, tasks, or the integration of just the human life experience to yourself and the purpose we have. So it is saying take that action. Do not overanalyze. Recognize you're on a new path and just be in, like Nike says, just do it. Okay? Don't hold yourself by that. Let your fears lay to rest. See how conjunctive that is and how they complement each other. And lastly, we have the Knight of Cups. So as I said, this is another card of emotion, just like the Queen of Cups. So two court cards. So it may be mindful of maybe a motherly figure or someone you look up to. Also, that might be affecting you with that Queen of Hearts, but also with this Knight of Cups. This is the overflow and coming in of emotions. Maybe the deepening or coming in and presentment of new relationships. The Knights are all about what's coming in and what you are actually, in this case, is what are you going to be emotionally realizing? What are you going to be seeing that your perspective on, and maybe taking a different perspective on it instead of perceiving? And maybe you'll be perceiving and getting acknowledgement you're perceiving right, but perceive your own feelings and have perspective on your own feelings and those feelings of others. That's going to be a thing this week. But bring in your compassion to your situations. Bring compassion to others. Bring in only the love, the light, the dark, if you are married both like I do, maybe what others may find a bit out there and outlandish. Hey, that is part of your light and part of your essence. Bring that in this week and bring that into your circumstances and relationships and bring in what you can for others. Don't overburden yourself. Don't take away from your emotional and energetic reserves, but also make sure that you're nurturing yourself in your relationships. Look for new beginnings. Things that may affect you on an emotional presence or relative in relationship experience. It does the cups, and that don't necessarily always represent that. It's also about building a relationship and how you can bring in new elements that build a better relationship with yourself and your circumstances. So this week holds an amazing energy, I feel, of emotional growth, nurturing, and then recognizing that how much you've emotionally matured and what you can bring into the experiences of others that's only unique to you. Lay your fears to rest, as this does, I feel resonant and ties in with last week's reading. If you want to check that out, go ahead and please do so. And I do have a playlist for my weekly readings. With that being said, if you like this, or this may resonate or meet your situation, please comment below. And please like, comment, and subscribe if my messages are reaching you. And with that being said, stay strange.